Next up, David Charles Allen, Village Properties Realtor and host of The Hop. That's Home Ownership Podcast. This week, The Hop includes a segment called It's a Beautiful Life with a special guest who has founded an organization to give renewed help to some of the homeless folks in the Oregon area.
Welcome to the Hops today. We have a great guest, Homer Williams, who is an integral part of Oregon Harbor of Hope Solutions, which aims at getting people off the streets and into their home of their own. How are you doing today, Homer?
Pretty damn good.
That's what I like to hear. How did you get started? Thanks for coming on the show. How did you get started in this field of work? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, let me see. I'm 76. I've been in the development business for about 50 years and primarily on the West Coast. And about 4 years ago, I was on a business trip to San Antonio and read about in the local paper a place that for the life of me, I still don't understand why I did it, but called up the mayor's office and asked if I could get into this place. And Haven for Hope was not what I expected. I don't know what I expected, but it was a campus and it had 1,500 people there. And half of them were living outdoors, not ready for treatment, but they were in a safe place and they had bathrooms and showers and they had washer and dryers and medical attention if needed. And then if they decided they wanted to go through treatment, and at the time there were about 750 people there. And next thing I know, I run into probably 35 kids that were living there as one of their parents was going through treatment. And I just thought, wow. And then I thought, I think I could build that in Portland. And I made several trips. And that's when I first got introduced into the homeless industrial complex. And for the last 25 years, a home for everyone has been the program. And that's been the HUD program. That's all the service providers. This was their program that they bought into. And so because of that, we got rid of, in the 60s and 70s, flop houses. We got rid of SROs. We got rid of boarding houses because we could do better than that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we never built the housing. And then the mantra was, okay, if we do something that's not the full meal deal, then maybe the apartment in the end never gets built. So we can't make that first step. So everything is designed around services for people that are homeless on the street. And to try something new, you're going against a very ingrained program. And that's always hard to do. So my first concern, and this is pre-COVID, was the baby boomers. And half of them were broke. And we didn't have a plan what we're going to do with it. And so that's what launched me on this. But then once I understood the delivery system, I thought, well, there's got to be better ways to do some of this. And so then we have a shower truck, laundry truck, food truck. We're out in the camps every day. And so I wanted to learn the world from the bottom up. And so we did that. And then COVID hit. And initially I thought, well, that's going to keep the homeless problem from growing because nobody can get evicted. But there's a lot of other reasons people can lose housing. And we were surprised at how fast the homeless numbers were continuing to grow, even in that environment. And so we understood that we could not build our way out of this. It's part of the solution. It takes years for it to be delivered, but it does nothing to help us in years 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so we put together a 4-point plan. And that plan is pretty simple. It's built to scale, and I'm only interested in things that can scale. And the first part of that plan was home sharing. Now, home sharing, remember when I said, SROs and boarding houses and flop houses? Yeah. This is a more modern version of those 3 things. So home sharing instead of boarding houses. Now, the good news is Airbnb proved that model, that people who are willing to take people in their homes. They're the largest hotel company in the world today, and they don't own 1 room. So borrowing from their playbook, we developed a program, which we call Oregon Home Share. And we partnered with a private company called Silvernest, and utilizing their software to power it. And it's really pretty simple. People go online, whether you're an owner or a renter. You go through a background check for both sides. Then you take a compatibility test, a very extensive one, really focused much more deeply than say a dating app or something like that. And so at the end of it, if you're a homeowner, they can tell you what the room should probably rent for. They provide the documents, or we provide the documents. There's insurance up to $100,000 for a homeowner, $10,000 for a renter. And so you go online and you can see 5 people say. Mm-hmm. And number 1, I'm 60% compatible with, but number 2, I'm 90% compatible with. And the third one, maybe it's 80, 85. And then you can see why you are, why you're not. I mean, some people like cats. Other people can't be around a cat. Some people want companionship. Some people don't want it. They just want a renter. I mean, so you really can ask the hard questions without having to ask the hard questions.
It's so cool. Yeah, I think they describe it online as a combination of Airbnb and Match.com. So that's amazing. Is there some sort of subsidy for people who don't have the money to afford to be able to rent a room even?
Well, here's the way that we approach it. Silver Nest, as I said, is a for-profit company. We raise money, and so that we can offer all those services. And then as far as we have a program we're working on with the state where we can utilize property tax abatement to supplement. I use as an example, a woman on Social Security at $900 a month. She's probably 150 Medicare copay or whatever, and then she probably can afford 250.
Mhm.
Well, if the homeowner had 500, and then that would be 700 or just under $10,000 a year. And in the Portland area, that's probably going to be the average rental is going to be around $750 a month. And then for people at 60% and below MFI, they can access this through the nonprofit. And so they don't encounter the normal fees and things that people have. This is not for chronically homeless. People don't realize, but probably 80% of the homeless people are not chronic. Our HUD count here is 4,000, and we always know those are bogus numbers.
Mhm.
But our situational homeless in 2019, last time that we'd had a study done, was about 39,000 people. And so this is designed to keep people from going homeless.
Oh,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
And so we really want people, most students are a good example. We have thousands of students in the Portland area that are situationally homeless. This is ideal because the homeowner, and the typical homeowner is a woman in her late 50s, early 60s, wants to stay in her home, wants to age in place. A student for a reduced rent can do all the hard lifting around the house. There's a lot of, opportunity there. Also, this is about companionship. And we know people live longer when they're not just living alone. And this is, for a lot of people, it's about compassion.
Mhm.
So we did a study. We have 1.5 million spare bedrooms in the state of Oregon in owner-occupied homes. A 2% penetration would house or keep from going homeless 30,000 people.
Wow.
And while keeping 30,000 people in their homes, at risk of keeping their homes. So you really get a double benefit. It's the most cost-effective thing any community can do.
I love that you want to take this to scale because, as you know, it's a problem in Oregon, but it's a problem in Santa Barbara, it's a problem in Los Angeles, it's a problem all over our country. And I think you should go on Shark Tank and pitch this idea and get Barbara, whatever her name is, the real estate mogul, to get involved.
Well, what we're doing is creating what I call a home share in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And so we will be able, we spent 8 months developing this in the program with Silver Nest. And, and we've developed ads. We're just starting to run. We have 150,000. We had 350,000 programmed for ads this year. We ended up only having to spend 135,000, and the Broadcasters Association picked us as one of theirs of support. So we're going to get almost $1 million worth of advertising, on the airwaves and radios for the next 8 months, because this is about education and educating people about the benefits of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, I was always so surprised when I would give talks to churches and stuff about how many people were already doing it. Yet, as a society, if your kids are living at home, they go, geez, I wonder what's wrong with that kid. And it's normal in many societies where intergenerational living is just common.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of education that we felt needs to take place. And it's not big city only, small communities, churches, they're losing their flocks, and to homelessness oftentimes, or having to move out and away from the community to a less expensive place. And so there's all kinds of benefits, side benefits to it.
Are. Yeah, like you said, it's such a win-win, especially for the aging population who needs a little assistance and the younger generation. When you speak about living with mom and dad, I mean, you may know this, but the millennial generation, a large percentage of them need that support right now. It's not like it was when we were kids.
No,
or young people. It was much easier back then. It's difficult now.
And so our goal is this home share in a box. We'll be able to offer it to any city or state that wants it. And we can have them set up in probably 90 days and operational. We would need to find the right NGO in each of those areas. But anyway, yeah, we're excited.
Aren't you honored, David, that he's on our show and that maybe it'll end up in Santa Barbara, our beloved city? I happen to know a lot of the nonprofits back there. I was working with the RSVP program in the past, and it paired up seniors with volunteers. And any program that they have has a waiting list, quite a long waiting list. They have some great programs, but you can't get in them quickly. They just don't have the space. So,
and it's yeah. Do you know Andy Grant there by any chance? Santa Barbara?
I don't think so. Who does he work for? It sounds a little familiar, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, he had his own company running, I want to say theme parks or something. We went to high school together. He's just a character.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Andy. This is not, I like the idea. First of all, somebody else already spent $1 gazillion because nobody thought they could be successful, and that's Airbnb. But the second thing is, and especially coming out of COVID, this is really allows the community to come together. And I think that there's a lot of lonely souls out there over the last year.
There are.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Can I ask you a tough question, Homer? Does it seem it's going to keep getting more and more people are going to be put in this situation? Because it seems prices are always going to keep going up for rentals. Getting a job and securing a job is kind of getting increasingly more difficult to some people.
Oh, there's no question. No question.
Jobs being lost and robots and machines kind of taking over. How do you see it playing out? Is it just going to be bigger and bigger until there's no real middle kind of class in the United States?
We lost our middle class. We lost them when there were 3 stools to a family: the home, the defined benefit plan, and Social Security. Today, no young people can afford a home.
It's true.
The defined benefit plan was replaced by the 401k, which was a knife in the back of the working class. The individual never wins with Wall Street. Wall Street wins, they lose. And so now you've got Social Security. And we know that's not adequate in today. And so we gutted our own middle class. Unless you're a government worker with defined benefit plans, or what's left of the unions, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah.
What's going to happen, it's kind of interesting, but technology, we always knew there was going to be job displacement. And the old adage, oh, but you're going to create more jobs because you're doing so many different things. It's not true. I mean, when we get into quantum computing, and for a lot of things, it's almost game over. But I thought it would be 10 years from now. But the COVID has accelerated everything. Distance learning, meetings. Why would companies fly gazillions of people around the world for doing? I mean, it's all changing and much more rapidly. And because of that, the layoffs that are inevitable are going to hit 50 and older. They're the most expensive and they've got the least technological chops. So that, they're going to be gone and they will never probably have another job again in their life. So we are going to get to some form of universal income, whether we like it or not. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah. So many cities, Sedona is also one of them. I live in that area. There are a lot of retail workers. It's a very touristy area, as is Santa Barbara and Portland, of course, too. And a lot of tourists come there. But the average worker makes maybe, between $12 and $18, $19 an hour. And it's not enough money for the very expensive rents that these places have. So it's such a huge problem. And
look at the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. That's the dynamic we're on right now. And I like to tell people, the pitchforks will be coming. You cannot have people who worked all their lives suddenly living for nothing. Living animals. It doesn't work.
Well, I think we have a lot that went into it as well. I mean, a lot of people just order all their things off Amazon. All these small businesses that people have ran for their entire lives through generations have closed down because Amazon, and people continue to support these big box stores. So it's kind of like we put the knife in our own heart in a way, how people don't really go back to supporting local and supporting community and having compassion for the people around you, kind of like what you're trying to build back up.
And so, I mean, it's a tough road. So then the second part of our 4-point plan is repurposing motels. In the state of Oregon, we should be buying every motel we can. And, you can have them repurposed. You can buy them and have them operational within 90 days. And it's not that there's not enough money around. I mean, there's so much money sloshing around right now. The trouble is it's getting spent in all the old ways.
Yeah.
Which didn't work, which is unfortunate. So then we, being an old developer, the idea of turning 300 feet into a livable apartment, the first thing you got to do is put a kitchen in. So you need a plumber and then an electrician and a carpenter and somebody to oversee them and schedule. And I thought, this isn't going to work. What we need to do is we need a plug and play kitchen. A kitchen that's pre-wired, pre-plumbed, It's already got all of the cabinets, and it can be installed in an hour. And so we found a company that would do that.
Oh, wow.
You're kind of a genius, Homer. That's really clever.
And then the next thing we had to do was get the bed out of the room during the day because it dominated everything. So the same people, I said, we need a bed that when it's up at the base of it is a sofa. And then if you could design something that was flush with the wall, but came out and folded down and it was a table. So during the day, you had a little living room, a work table or dinner table, and you had your kitchen and bathroom. So that 300 feet lived like 500 feet.
Yeah.
Because the bed would come down at night and, then you had your bedroom. And so they did that for us. And so sometimes, I always rather be lucky than smart, so same people. We had given out thousands of tents and sleeping bags, and they really don't work well. People get attacked in them. Their stuff gets stolen. When it rains, it's terrible. Their clothes rot, their feet rot.
Not a good life, yeah.
Not a good life. And so I said, give me your version of what a tent could be that two people could be in that feel safe. And so they came up with this rigid tent. And I think I sent you a bunch of stuff on all this stuff. And, you can take a baseball bat, you're not going to hurt anybody inside. It's actually got a door that locks. Inside is an insulated floor and also a small safe embedded in that floor so that they can keep their ID. One of the biggest problems for homeless people is when they get their stuff stolen. If they lose their ID, I mean, they're nobody. They can't get anything. They can't get help. And that would be waterproof. And so anyway, it then has a light. They can read at night and charge their phone because it has a solar cell on it. And so we've had those out being tested by homeless people now, and we've gotten a really positive response from them.
That's amazing.
And then there are pallet houses that are showing up around the different cities, but they're not well constructed. And at least for this climate. And, but it's a great concept. So I asked these people, I want you to come up with a really cool tiny home. We call them pods. And one that could be put together quickly, and even more important, disassembled quickly, but that's going to last a long, long time. And so they came up with our version of that. And I think you have the video of that community that we're going to build. And hopefully in July have it open.
Oh, wow.
And when I say community, we need to get these people in a place that's safe. Everybody deserves a safe place, and we know the streets aren't safe. So that's my mantra.
Mm-hmm.
But then also be part of a community.
Yeah, I think this is the wave of the future. I think this is an amazing plan.
And so then we call it a community in a box. We can set it up in 4 or 5 days. In this case, the one that we're doing, it'll be 50 pods. It'll hold between 75 and 100 people. And it has showers, building, showers, bathrooms, laundry, meeting space for caseworkers, and a communal area that's covered, and a place for the pets to run, because people are not going to give up their pets.
No,
No one's giving up their pets.
no.
And so, to me, it's the first step in a journey.
Mhm.
And what we're trying to do is provide for the first step and then help fill in the journey before the apartments get here.
Yeah. If people want to contribute to this amazing plan that you have a GoFundMe account or page that they should go to.
Well,
Would that be the best way?
OregonHarborofHope.org.
Okay.
That's where you can find us.
Mhm.
So, and anybody that wants information on any of this, my phone number is 503-860-4181. And I can be reached at Homer at WD, like David, DCORP.com. And I'm happy to have any of our people. We share everything, our whole plan. It's a small group, but the idea is to come up with, on the private side, we're only funded privately by, foundations and local people, to come up with plans that we think can be scaled and then move them out into the marketplace, and where they can easily partner with nonprofits like the home share and that kind of thing. Then we'll help facilitate all that.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Homer. It was great
Yeah.
hearing all about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm just honored to have you talk
Oh.
about this issue and describe your brilliant plan. And I can't wait until it has scaled and it's everywhere.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this more than anything I've done, so
Oh,
I'm lucky.
yes, yes.
Uh,
Well,
for
there's a
sure.
reason you were drawn to visit that sister organization in San Antonio, I'm sure. You said, I don't know why I went there, but you were guided for sure.
Yeah, well, it must be.
Mhm.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Nice to meet you.
Thank
And
you so
did you
very
say
much.
you're moving to Portland or Florida?
Florida, I'm moving to Florida. Yeah.
Florida, or about?
So it's kind of the area I'm going to is in between Naples and Fort Myers.
Oh, okay. I've
It's a
got a
little neighborhood there.
Naples.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter lives in Naples, my youngest daughter and her husband. So
For you.
that should help. Anyway, thank you so very much for sharing your plan with us and your organization.
You betcha. All
I
right.
hope we can
Good
stay
day,
in
home.
touch.
You bet.
All right. Bye-bye.